Shalom everyone, it's Eliya bin Yaakov. I'm back once again to do another video. I've been taking a lot of time for those who have subscribed to my videos. I would like to say shalom, and I thank you so much for those who have contacted me and called me, and those who I talk with on a daily basis and or every other week basis, and we study Torah together. I want to say that when I first started these videos 4 months ago, I did not expect the response that I've gotten. So there's a lot of things in my life that I actually had to speed up to try to correct myself to make sure that I'm not a hypocrite when it comes to Torah. So that's why I haven't been doing a lot of videos. I've been just taking my time to stay away from Facebook. Now that I see I got people that's really watching me, and it made me observe myself. So you people have been like a mirror to me. I just started getting into the Torah not too long before I actually started doing the videos. I've always knew the Bible, but as far as in Torah, I started sharing it with the world 4 months ago. Before that, you would have to come to my house to know that I was doing this. I wasn't telling anyone. Now I've been telling people, and I like to thank you all. And over the time span that I haven't been doing any videos, it's been over a month. I think I've been collecting a lot of different things because I've been studying Torah almost every day. A lot of prayer, a lot of studying, a lot of fasting, a lot of trying to live the Torah according to what He has said, because Yahweh keeps His covenant. And so what I've done is I went into what we call the Ve'era, which is the Torah reading right now, the portion that has been for us to divide it up. We're coming very close to the time of the Pesach, so I'm going to do from Exodus 6. I'm going to read all the way pretty much until we get to the Pesach scriptures over the next couple of weeks, and we're going to discuss some concepts and precepts that comes from out of these scriptures. I'm not going to stack verse upon verse as far as and take from here and put it there to match up a doctrine. I'm just going to read Torah, and we're going to let what the words mean in the Hebrew be its description. Okay, so I'm going to try not to give too much of my own description of what the word, just what the word means. I'm going to relate off of that. I'm going to elaborate on that. This is the Torah portion for the Shabbat week of 112 and 2013. We're going to start in Shemuth 6th chapter, the 2nd through the 9 verses in this first portion. Okay, and we're just going to go over it. We're going to pray that Yahweh gives us an understanding, that Yahweh opens up our eyes and that we see clearly. It starts off by saying, Wadaber Elohim El Moshe. And Elohim, he conversed, or he had a word, or he had a conversation. It says El Moshe, with Moshe, which we know to be Hanavi of the children of Israel. His name means to draw out. He drew out the children of Israel. But also Wadaber, this form of Devar, which means word, it means to converse. It means to had spoken to someone, to had a word with someone. And that indicates a close relationship, because even us as humans, us as Adam, we know that we only talk and have real conversations with those who we feel that we trust, who we feel that are friends, who we feel that are, trustworthy people. So here Moshe gives us an example of what it means to be a trustworthy person of Yahweh and to have a conversational relationship with him. And we're going to see that because of what he's going to say to him. Yahweh is going to respond, by saying things in this conversation, just as well as Hanavi Hamashiach Yeshua ben Yusuf also had this conversational relationship to where he would speak and Yahweh would respond. This is an example us as the Bnei Yasharel should observe and notice. He continues in 6 and 2 by saying, Wayomer Elayu Ani Yahweh. Okay, and that means, and he said to him, speaking of Yahweh, Ani Yahweh, I am Yahweh. Yahweh, we know it means he that has come to be. Or Yahweh, it means he that will cause existence, he that causes things to happen, he that is what it is. So Yahweh indicates this in this conversation, showing their relationship. Not only do they converse, but he confirms his name to him once again. He calls me Yahweh, so that he knows him on a first name basis now. And we're going to understand how much more precious this is because of the next statement in 6:3. He says, Wa'era el Avraham el Yitzchak wel Yaakov Be'el Shaddai. This means Wa'era, thus I was revealed. To some it may say I appeared, but this word Aera, it means I saw. Aera comes from Ra'ah, which means to see and to take a mental observation of something. It's not just indicating seeing with your eye, but it means to to see something and to observe it with the eye, to see and to learn how to understand it. So this word in its form is actually indicating when I was revealed by sight. I was revealed to them, and revealing to Avram, Yitzhak, to Jacob. When he's saying he was revealing, it means they seen him, he appeared to them, and they understood him. They observed who he was, his ways. And this is how our tradition has been passed down. This is how our tradition has been received to us. But he was known to them, he says, as El Shaddai. Now, this word has been translated as Almighty God or God Almighty. But when we go into the true meaning of the Hebrew word, it has two meanings. But yet what they've done by Masoretic texting, they've put two different pronunciations on it. One is Shaddai, and then one became Sadai. The word Shaddai actually means to violently deal with, or to devastate, or to cause havoc. Okay, so in reality, to say El Shaddai is actually saying, God of the mighty devastation, a God of havoc, a God that deals violently with. So this is where the word Almighty probably came in through English and Greek abstract. But yet again, the word Sadai actually indicates the field or country land. So, and we know that the children of Israel were dwellers, and they dwelt in country land. They dealt, Abraham had been taken away from a great city and had been put into the land of the country. We see eventually Israel was taken out of Egypt and put into the Bamidbar, into the wilderness. So we call him El Shaddai, which can either mean God of the country field, God of the country land, or it can mean God of mighty devastation. Either way you want to see it. Okay. Then he goes on to say, Ushmi Yahweh, but my name Yahweh, lo nodati lakim, was not made known by me to them. So, our fathers, they received a great, they received a real great, pretty much a real great, response and respect, because Yahweh came to them, and he pretty much showed them how to live. He showed them his truth, and he made covenants with them. Okay, and we're going to get into that. But he understands that he didn't let them be known by name. So here we see that he's indicating something to the offspring of Yasharel through Hanavi Moshe, that the covenant is now about to become greater, because I have introduced you to a true personal covenant. Because I did not reveal myself by the name Yahweh Bashem Yahweh to no one else. 6 and 4 says, Wagam Hakimoti et Beriti Itam. Thus I also established et beriti, my covenant, my treaty, my alliance, my agreement. It means an agreement between two persons. He says itam, with them. So he established this. He made it to stand. He put it, and it made it become to stand firm. That's what this word kimoti means, to stand firm, to be established. Okay, so he established this treaty. He established this alliance, which we know to be the promises of the Devarim, which is the book of Deuteronomy. All right, and in this promise, in this agreement, in this agreement, in this alliance, in this treaty, he says, "Latet lachem et aretz Canaan," to give them the land of Canaan. So, and he established this covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, which is what? Et eretz megarehem asher garuva, the land of their sojournings. This word megarehem comes from the word gur, which means a foreign place of dwelling or sojourning. Asher garuva, where they sojourned in it, which is kind of like what we're in today also. But he was speaking of Canaan, the land where they learned and where they dwelt and where they lived at, a land that he gave them to be comfortable in, a land of milk and honey, a land to be flowing purely, and we understand that he established that with his people. But he did it with the Father, but yet he didn't give them the covenant name. He didn't give them the understanding of knowing him personally. To know him so personal that we knew his name. He cleared that up with us, and this is something that we should be taking heed in, because this is a part of our heritage, us to be as Ur le Goyim, as lights to Goyim, to the nations, to indicate to them who Yahweh is, and the true Elohim Yahweh, and going by the Hashem Yahweh, his true Hashem. And 6 and 4 said he established this covenant to give them the land of Canaan. So Canaan, that land, the Middle East that these Zionists are trying to take over and they're fighting for, it belongs to us. And we can sit around and try to wait on Yahweh, but his promises said that he was going to give it to us. And we must follow his promises by what? Learning his Torah, learning to be a Hebrew, learning our true ways, trying to get ourselves together to move to where we're supposed to be at. We need to get out of this land, because this is not our home. 6 and 5 says, Vegama nishemati. And I myself have heard. He says himself. That means he heard. He listened. Shamati. It means I have listened. I have heard. Okay. What? It na'akat b'ni Yasharel, the complaints of despair by the offspring of Yasharel. He heard the complaints. All of those years we were in the cotton fields singing those so-called Negro spirituals. All of the years that we were in Mitzrayim in the ancient 13th century BC, when we were going through the rigorous situations, being criticized because of who we are. For the people who are in Africa, for the people who have been trapped up in complaints, you know what I'm saying? He hears them. He said it. He's declaring it here. Yahweh said, I hear them. Okay? He heard them. Why? Asher Mitzrayim ma'avadim otam, because Mitzrayim is enslaving them. We have to understand that Mitzrayim is a double word, okay, and it's plural also. It's been indicated because it represents the bondage that they went through in the land of Mitzrayim, which we know to be the two lands, the upper and the lower. Very similar to today. We have North and South America, two places to where we were put in bondage. And we must understand this, it's not just America, it's the colonizing system that is Egypt that's oppressing us. Mitzrayim, the fortified cities, that's what that word means. The double lands, and it also means fortified cities. It was indicated as bondage in Hebrew because Mitzer means anguish. It means, to be in despair. So this word has multiple dimensions to it and how it describes what we go through and what's really going on today. And as he hears those complaints, as he heard their complaints, and he hears our complaints today because of the enslavement, and it's the mental enslavement. It's not just all the way about the slavery that we went through during the African slave trade and the Atlantic slave trade. It's also the mental slavery that we go through being, criticized for being black, being punished for being black, for one. Then, we're being punished because we have to open up our eyes every day, and on television we see these images of our own people who are polluting us and showing themselves to be enslaved for the money and the diamonds and the jewels, and treating the women with no respect, having no respect for the elders. This lifestyle is being enslaved. We are mentally still enslaved, and therefore a lot of us complain and we cry. Some of us are stuck here. Me personally, I want to go to Jerusalem. I'd rather live in Israel than the land of Canaan that was promised to me by my father Yahweh. But yet I am still being oppressed and being enslaved here because I'm on probation and I got to work these jobs. We're going to get into that. But he says because of the Egyptians enslaving them, this is why he heard the complaints of despair. And he ends it by saying, why is kor it beriti? So I recalled in memory, I remembered my covenant. He remembered the agreement when we were out there in those cotton fields singing those Negro spirituals. Okay? He did. It wasn't Martin Luther King or Harriet Tubman. Those people were vessels, but it was Yahweh who delivered us through that, black people. It wasn't nobody else. Okay? The so-called Jewish Ashkenazis can say the same for their little tribulation that they went through in Germany and Russia. But they had the power of the Yephetic people who was behind them still, and they're not trying to put us back in Israel. They don't want that truth to come. But Yahweh is going to remember his covenant, Yasharel. And we must remember that because he promised it to our forefathers and he promised it to us also. 6 and 6 goes, Lakem emor livnei Yasharel, which means therefore say to the offspring of Yasharel, Ani Yahweh, I am Yahweh, Wahot seti etkem, and I will cause you to be brought out mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim, from out under the hard labor of Mitzrayim. Okay, this hard labor. This is what we're going through. Everyday slavery, hard labor, working for small amounts of wages. And this doesn't matter whether you're black or you're white. Because even if you're Japhetic, even if you are white, they're going to still destroy you eventually. They're going to eventually turn their back on you too. So the best thing you should do, especially if you believe in Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, is bow down to his true people, find a true congregation of Ivrim people, and let's get back into Torah. Because you can be grafted in also as the house of the house of Israel, the house of Yasharel. Abraham, the father of many, he had many people under him in his house, but everybody was circumcised. Everybody followed Torah. Understand that. Now he says that I'm going to bring you out from under the hard labor of Mitzrayim, and then he says, Wahi salti etkim me avadotam, and I will deliver you from their enslavement. Okay? He says, Wegalti etkim bizaroa. Okay? And I will redeem you. He said he's going to redeem you. He's going to purchase you. He's going to buy you out. Now this is where a lot of Christians say that this was Christ's death. But yet again, it was by the blood that was shed by our forefathers, that was shed during the times of the diasporas. All of those people who died, they died for their wickedness. only for us to be pruned, a chastisement for us to be cleansed by the blood of our forefathers, as a lesson that we will not end up like them now that we have this recognition of the Spirit to know who we are. He goes on to say that Natuya uvishvatim gadolim, and with you with the arm of a person and with great judgments and legislation. So he say he's going to redeem us with the arm of a person, meaning the actions of a person, the power of someone, which we know to be Hanavi Mashiach Yeshua ben Yusuf, through judgment and legislation. But yet we're still waiting for the arm in our day. But in their day, it was Moshe. And he also brought forth the great judgments through Acharon. So we're looking for that dual ministry of the prophets, the two prophets that the Christianity people are talking about in the great redemption, in the great revelation, in the times of the tribulation, the two witnesses. This is what he's also speaking about right here. The arm of a person is going to come and save us out of Mitzrayim, just like Moshe did, and also just like Acharon gave them legislation and judgment through the word of Moshe, so will we through the word of Hanavi HaMashiach Yeshua ben Yusuf. Okay? He's going to deliver us with Torah. This is how we are redeemed from this pressure and this power. Also with an outreached arm, he's going to reach out to us. Okay? And he's going to save us. He's going to collect us and take us as a people. Okay? That's what he's finna say. He goes on in 6 and 7. He says, Walakhathi etkem li la'am, and I will collect or take you for myself to be a people. This word la'am means to be a people, but people indicates a tribe or a community of people with the same moral responsibilities, not a nation. He didn't say goyim. He didn't say into a kingdom with a king and a government that rules you. He says no, as a community, because Torah is our ruler, and Elohim, Yahweh, is our judge and our ruler. Nobody else. Because he continues to say after that, wa iti lakim le Elohim, and I will become to you a Elohim, a God. So he says, I will collect and take you for myself to be a group of people, a tribe, a community, and I will become to you an Elohim. I will be a God to you. Okay? Hamotzi etkim mitahach sivolat. Okay, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Widatim ki ani Yahweh Elohim, and you will know that I am Yahweh your God. He says, Hamotzi etkim mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim, and the one bringing you out from under the hard labor of Mitzrayim. Not Martin Luther King, not Barack Obama, not Muhammad Ali, not Muhammad Farrakhan, not, none of those people. It's Yahweh. He is the one who is going to bring us from under the hard labor, and he has so far. He's slowly but surely delivering us. And as he's taking us from under the bondage of the slavery, now he's starting to break us from the mental slavery, and we are starting to become aware of who we are and returning back to Torah, his instruction, and he will continue to redeem us. He will continue to deliver us and take us to be a people, a tribe, a group of people with the same custom. Okay? He's going to bring us out of this land, and we understand that this land that we live in is not for us. We are from a people of sheep herders. We desire to be in the country land. Like I told you, El Shaddai means the God of the country land. But we know him as Yahweh, he that is everything, he that has created life, he that is existence. And he has made a promise to us. And here he says in 6 and 8, he says, Weveti etkim el haaretz, and I will bring you into the land, asher nashati et yadi latet otah, that I raised my hand, meaning making a pledge to give it. Okay? He made a pledge. He raised his right hand. He raised his right hand and he made a pledge. Okay? Now with this pledge, understand, who did he make it to? La Avraham, La Yisach, La Yaakov. To the forefathers. He says, Wenati otalakim morasha, and I will give it to you for a possession. Now this is something that he did do, and it came to be. He brought them into the land of Canaan through the power of Yeshua ben Nun. He brought them there. He also brought them back through the power of Yeshua Yehud during the time of the temple. And then also he brought us back to the spiritual understanding. He brought us back as a possession, the spiritual Canaan, through HaMashiach Hanavi Yeshua ben Yusuf. Okay? But also he's going to do this again. This is something that we should thrive on. Us as the children of the Yavarim, us as the Hebrew people, we should understand that we belong in the land of Canaan. We need to start to petition. We need to start to protest, and to petition in order to get ourselves back into Israel. And you will understand that in the next verses that I read in the next portion when we go into 6 and 10, because it's going to really get into that as an example of, these things are examples. And we are to study this in spirit and truth, as Hanavi Hamashiach Yeshua ben Yusuf taught us, to study this in spirit and truth, to understand how it applied to them, how it applies to us in the physical, and also spiritually. We're under the spiritual bondage, under this system that we know as the government, and this world, this fortified city, this Mitzrayim, this organized union of all these countries that we live in under right now today, and their paganisms and their false religions such as Christianity, and their false religions that Muhammad has brought into Islam, and these other false religions, the Scientology, and all of these metaphysical concepts and aspects that have been put into the Torah and so-called called it our religion. This is not our home. We need to thrive to go back to the land that he promised and he raised his right hand to give to our fathers to be a possession. And then he ends this verse by saying, I am he that makes it happen. He will make it happen. We got to put our trust back in him, but first we must start to be obedient to his Torah. We must start being obedient to his Torah. Stop yelling and cussing out people just because they're white, because there's a possibility that somewhere down the line their ancestors could have been from our ancestor, and that's what is drawing them near. But what would draw more people to the truth and the gospel shall be spread to the four corners is when us as the Avarim, as the scattered children of Yasharel and the Yudah, to come together, understand Torah, teach Hebrew language, teach the Devarim Ivrit to our children, to our Beni, to our Benu, and let them understand the true concepts of what these words mean, like how we should understand it. And the Yahweh will start to open up doors because he made a covenant, he made an agreement between our fathers and us, that he would do these things for us if we worship him as a Yahweh, as we worship him as Elohim, I mean. And we're going to finish it out with 6 and 9. He says, Wadeber Moshe Cain el ben Yasharel. Then Moshe spoke this assuredly to the offspring of Yasharel. It says, Velo Shamau el Moshe. But they did not listen. Okay? Nor did they hear him, to Moshe. Mikotzer ruach ume avodah kasha. Okay? Mikotzer ruach ume avodah kasha. From anguish of spirit and vigorous hard labor. And it's the same way today. Sometimes we look at the Torah and it's hard for us to understand its concepts, and it's hard for us to perceive it and to live it out because of the anguish of spirit, because we're beat down in spirit, we're distressed in spirit. We've been in spiritual bondage for so long because he's indicating spirit and truth. He's indicating from anguish of spirit, he says mitzor ruach, and then he also says ume avado kasha, from harsh vigorous labor. So we're trying to become better people. My specific situation is I want to move into the country and build out me some land on the land that I have and start to live a true Hebraic life, living off of the earth, having animals, planting fruits. But yet I got to do all of this vigorous hard labor stuck in Mitzrayim, this bondage. So it's hard to believe that Yahweh would actually deliver us and take us out of America and put us back in Israel and put us in a place to where we can worship him without being surrounded by harsh music, visuals, and a land where you can just type in Pornhub and pull up every simple thought of fornication that you could ever imagine. You know, cursing in every song. Rappers are calling women bitches and hoes. Men are calling each other niggas and bitch ass niggas and all of these terms. Excuse my French, but it's real. This is the anguish of our spirit. We're killing each other. Some people don't even want to believe in the Most High Yahweh. They don't want to listen to the Torah of Moshe because they don't want to understand it. It's hard for them to understand how could we keep it. We can't keep certain laws because we're not in Israel. Well, let's go back to Israel, people, because Yahweh, he promised it to us in his Torah. Okay? And that's what the Shemoit is. And the reason we're going to start here, we're going to build it up until the Shemoat, until the day of the Pesach. And we're going to understand the story of the captivity of Egypt and the story of Moshe delivering the people out of Egypt and how it coincides with us today and how we need to get our minds together and do what we need to do to get ourselves and our people out of America and take back over our true land the same way that the Zionists have done. But they're not going to allow us to come as long as we have those people who are preaching that white people can't have salvation. Now, I'm not saying that I trust white people or that I love them, but if you're white and you happen to be watching this video and you're understanding, okay, blacks could be the true Hebrews. Don't let these people cursing you out. Don't let these black Hebrews who cussing out you black women, let them detour you from this truth of Torah. Study Torah, and what Torah says is what you live by. It don't matter what I say. Follow Torah. Go back and read this Torah. Go back and learn the Hebrew language of this Torah portion. Learn the meaning of it. Understand it for yourself. Take heed and live it. And Yahweh will show you. He will keep his word. He will remember his covenant because he said he hears our complaints of despair. And he remembers his covenant. And he will reach out with the arm of a person, meaning it could be somebody that will come and help you personally or somebody who will help us as a whole. You know? And we just remember that even them, they didn't hear it because they had an anguish of spirit. They had a lack of faith because of the hard work that we all are going through today, Yasharel. And I pray for us all and pray for me also. And we're going to continue to do these Torah portions. We're going to continue to stay on this. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody deter you because you have some problems or because you have errors, because you have hata'im, because you have sin. Don't let nobody deter you, and don't ever feel like Yahweh is not trying to work with you as long as you're continually to pray, to have that conversational relationship which it showed with Moshe, as long as you're continuing to study his Devarim and you know him by his name and you understand his covenant and you understand that he establishes his covenant and you understand that even though we're in anguish in spirit and vigorous hard labor, he is still going to redeem us. He is still going to deliver us. I am Eliah ben Yaakov. Until the next time, I would like to say shalom.
Beats for pros.net.